communication has decreased because of technology, because it's so much easier to just send an email to someone or text somebody.
I think face-to-face communication interactions have decreased as a result of the rise of social media and technology. It becomes a lot easier just to communicate through text, through Facebook or Twitter.
I think a lot of people are afraid of confrontation now, so I definitely think technology has made our verbal communication decrease.
So the social media outlet that I think has us suffer the most in communication is Snapchat, because we just send little pictures to each other with little captions, and we don't really have any meaningful conversations.
Probably Instagram. Not that Instagram forces people not to hang out in person, or decreases FaceTime by itself, but I think it decreases the quality of the FaceTime you spend with people. It's really easy to go, like, say to the cafeteria, which is a face-to-face interaction with someone, and instead of sitting there talking, you're both just playing on your phones, scrolling through Instagram, liking other photos, seeing what other people were doing the day before.
I believe all of them have. I believe emails in particular. People I know communicate with their bosses and employees via email. All the apps, Snapchat, Instagram, people just send those out and don't really even look for responses. They spend their time on their phones.
So do I think that texting and cell phones have an impact on teens, and does it make it easier for them to hide behind a screen? I'd say absolutely. Just the way that people communicate, it's very easy to say harsh things through texting when you don't have to deal with someone's face-to-face. You don't have to see how it affects them.
Definitely, not just teens, but teens definitely. It's a new way to communicate with each other and people that you like, don't like, and to say things where you don't have to be held accountable for them. And I think people say and do things on screens that they wouldn't do in public.
Texting does influence teens and does cause them to hide behind their screens, because kids now in this generation kind of just don't let go of their phones. They pretty much will be at dinner with their family and they're literally texting the entire time, which is not right. And I feel like they need to be really more involved in their environment and hang out with their friends and actually have genuine more conversations.
So when teens are texting or cyberbullying, it becomes much easier because you don't see the effect that it has on the person that you're insulting.
Yes, I do think social media can lead to awkward face-to-face encounters. I've even had that myself, where I can talk to people on social media, but I can't necessarily talk to them in person. I've even had people I've talked to on social media not even say hi to me, like walking by. I just think it's a lot easier for people to talk through their computer than it is to talk face-to-face, and when people get used to that, they kind of lose the communication skills they need.
The answer is definitely yes. I have seen it here in the office. The change in students' ability to interact with people one-on-one over the last 10 years has been terrifying. Students no longer know how to talk to somebody when they walk in. They don't know how to greet somebody. They don't know how to communicate with them. I am frightened to see what's going to happen in 20 years.
I think texting and cell phones in general make it more difficult for face-to-face communications. A lot of people aren't developing the same type of skill sets that they would have. It becomes harder to read body language, and people don't hear the tone of the voice through texting.
I witnessed cyberbullying when my mom came home from school one day, and there was an epidemic in her school with some of her 8th graders who posted a picture of another girl on their Instagram and started making fun of her because she got a different grade in the class and they thought that she was stupid. And it ended up becoming a really big deal in their school. All the parents and the board had to get involved, so it really shows how it really can create a negative impact in someone's life.
Yes, I did. I was a teacher at a school for a while when Facebook first started coming out and other things started coming out. We in fact had 2 students that committed suicide, and it turned out one of the problems was they had been bullied online. Incredibly, they were students that had issues, and what they tried to do was address it among the faculty and the students of how not to do not to impact the students, but was not to make the students treat each other nicely. But what happened was the friends of the students that started bullying, cyberbullying the students that were bullying the kids who killed themselves. It was like just a spiral out of control.
Well, when I was a freshman here, there used to be a girl that used to go here. She was a freshman too, and her ex-boyfriend went to another school. They got into a fight, and things escalated over Twitter. Eventually, he created a Twitter account with her name, and he followed the dean, all the athletic staff, as many students as he could follow, and then posted all her nudes. Eventually the cops got involved and they took it down, and he got punished by them for something, I don't know the details. But the girl ended up dropping out of the school like 3 weeks later.
Yes, technology has increased cyberbullying, and it's done so because, again, like what I said, that students and just teenagers in general are used to talking from behind a screen, so it's a lot easier to be mean to someone when you're sitting behind your computer just typing than it is to be mean to their face and when you see them.
I think the recent advancements in technology over the past 10 or 15 years have really made it a lot easier to cyberbully. First off, just everyone's connected now. Like before, like not many people used email or phones or anything, but now we're always like plugged in, phones in your pocket. You're connected in so many ways. Also, there's just, it's easier to be anonymous now. Like I said before, you had to do it through texting or emails or something. Now it's complete strangers over Twitter, or it's people like online with like headsets. You have no idea who you're talking to.
Definitely, I believe that has increased cyberbullying, mostly because you're able to bully somebody without anonymously. You're able to bully people anonymously and say things true or false that you don't have to be held accountable for.
Social media has had an impact on mental health within teenagers. I think it's definitely made depression and narcissism a lot worse. You have people who are all about selfies, are all about likes. People literally pay for those things. Depression, I think, like I said, goes along with the cyberbullying aspect. And so they are afraid of how people view them. I also think there's a link with anxiety. I don't think it causes anxiety. I think people who are anxious, like generally, or struggle with face-to-face communication, for obvious reasons, tend to rely heavily on social media. So I wouldn't say it causes anxiety, but it's, I guess, more of an outlet for them.
I don't really think that there's much correlation between social media and mental illness, because I think so much of mental illness is just chemically in your brain, but I think it has increased like people's anxiety, kind of disorders like that can come about from, again, like something like cyberbullying, or just being so dependent on social media that you can't interact outside of it.
Definitely, I know people that are timid and afraid to go out in public or talk to people. They are more comfortable communicating online. It's a good thing for that, because it's easier to type or to pretend to be somebody else, or maybe make friends, have social connections. But you have mental illness, so you may don't look good in public. I also know as people who are mentally ill that I believe can cause a lot of problems, because they can act out their problems in public.
Social media has impacted my life in a lot of ways. I'm not huge into Twitter or Instagram. I like just following them for kind of news sources, or just see what my friends are doing. But I think Facebook especially has allowed me to communicate with a lot more people more efficiently. It's now easier for me to have friends in other places. For example, one of my roommates last year was from Germany. He was here for a semester. I still talk to him at least once or twice a month. I was able to reach out and contact my family in France and talk to my cousins, and they came here for a visit. So it's definitely been a great way to communicate, to find people, to stay in touch, and like keep relationships that would otherwise struggle.
Social media influences my life because basically I get a lot of my information from social media, from basically like events happening either on campus or like everyday lives. And pretty much today, social media kind of has a very large impact everywhere for the fact that whatever you do, everything you do pretty much involves that and entails using social media to either talk to other individuals, and basically it helps you talk to other individuals like out of the country. For like my sake, I talk to my family in Portugal, which definitely helps with the use of social media.
Social media and technology in general makes it easier for people to appear ways that they aren't in person. Myself, the only example I really have of that is when I was getting recruited out of high school for football. I had an online profile where other coaches could view like film, stats, and everything. And I just said I was 10 pounds heavier than I was. I was underweight when I was in high school, and it made me look better.
Down social media, because I think that just we're too used to being on our computers all the time. I think we should like go out and do stuff. I hate when I see like when I've gone to concerts and stuff and everybody's just on their phones like videoing and everything. Like kind of we need to experience the moment that we're in. So I think that we really need to scale back our social media use, and I have no idea how we would do that.
With the pace that technology and social media especially have been advancing the past 20 to 30 years, I think we should all take a step back and reevaluate ourselves. I think individuals are too plugged in, and it's starting to hurt us as a society with the lack of face-to-face communication. So I think individuals have to step back and put their phones down and talk to each other more.